Welcome to the Max's Super Awesome Comic Review Show. It is the first Wednesday of March, which means that, well, sometime this week was Mardi Gras. We're a little confused on the exact date. But today is definitely New Comic Day. There is no doubt about that. And in honor of a possible Mardi Gras sighting at some point in our lives, we are celebrating the most amazing week of comic books in recent memory. Was this a little hostile? This is the Max's Super Awesome Comic Review Show!
Comic Review Show!
Comic Review Show! And yes, as I said, it was a huge week for spectacular comic books this week. So I got two runners-up this week, and there was a host of honorable mentions, including The Punisher #3. Edmondson, that one was for you, buddy. The Punisher #3, we had Loki, Agent of Asgard #2 come out this week. There was... Man, there were books everywhere. It was amazing. Get to your comic book store and pick up some books. Don't let them go too long. But my top two honorable mentions, and these could have made the top 5, except then it would have been the top 7, and that just throws everything out of proportion. So, Magneto #1. About time Magneto got his own book again, right? Out from the shadow of Cyclops, which is kind of weird to say that anybody was in Cyclops' shadow, let alone Magneto. But he is back in his own book. It was really cool. He's back to just being not a murderous psychopath, but a murderous psychopath with a purpose. Like there's a hit list and there's legitimate reasons why these people are on the hit list. And in the meantime, you're just kind of like, wow, Magneto's getting kind of creative. One of the things that I really liked about the art in this book is that every time Magneto walks into a room, there's like these little panels that pop up like a video screen that highlight all the metal objects in the room. So he's like, stapler, that thing that I don't know what it is, but it's made out of metal, and then like the structure of the building. He's like, I could collapse this whole thing at any time. It's really cool. Magneto is a wonderful character. Really happy that he's getting his own book, and so far coming out the gates is pretty strong.
If I had a hit list, you'd be on it.
I'm flattered, actually.
Oh yeah?
I'm surprised you don't have a hit list. And if I am on it, numero uno is the catfish. Please don't. We need him. #2 on the runner-up list, Evil Empire #1 from Boom Studios. Again, easily could have been way high up in the top 5, but then it would be, not the top 5 anymore. I don't even know where to start with this book. It has so much going on. You have these two political candidates in this like heated discussion for the future of the country, which the entire time you see like everybody interacting around these politicians, the country is just like completely fallen to pieces. Really hard to imagine, I'm sure. But then you get this punk rock girl who's totally about mobilizing the youth for a change in America and like actually standing up to politicians and making them do what's been told. And you think you know where this book is going, and then there's a murder! Dun 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 dun. And everything about the book changes, and you're like, what? There's a murder? That's going to change everything. And then you get to the last page, and it really changes everything. And you're like, okay, this is going to be different. And now, without further ado, the moment you have all been waiting for, it's the Max's top 5 picks of the week. #5. And I only guessed #5 because it was a heartbreaker. It's Forever Evil #6. It is the fate of Nightwing. And also, you get to see another person from the crime syndicate who they have been, like, tied up in the back of the satellite, and you're like, what? Who is this person? You think it's Nightwing, and then it's not Nightwing, and then you realize who it is, and wow, shocker. This book just got infinitely more cool. Anyway, at #4, it is the new #1 from Mark Millar. It is Starlight. Very cool. Duke McQueen, also awesome names. I think that's going to be the theme. Psychopaths and awesome names. That's the theme for this week. Write that down. Duke McQueen, he's a normal human guy, gets teleported across the galaxy to a fantastical adventure, much like, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, Adam Strange, all those classic science fiction stories. Saves the world, comes home, lives the rest of his normal life, and then at the end of it, the weird aliens show back up, and we're off on another adventure. Really cool stuff. The artwork was, whew. I had a really tough time picking #1 art book this week. I think you'll like what I ended up picking, but man, Starlight, Fantastic book.
It has the classic art feel.
It does have a classic art feel.
That's what
yeah, it's a classic art feel.
Flipping through it, that's what it looks
Classic
like.
art feel. Maybe I'll convince Catfish to sneak some pictures in there for you. I'll do it while he's not looking. It'll be our little secret. At number 3, and the art pick of the week, Batman Superman Annual #1 by Greg Pak and Ja Lee. So, in the previous story arc, Mongol, the ruler of Warlord and intergalactic conquest alien extraordinaire, shows up, totally wrecks so much of Earth before Batman and Superman are able to bring him down. Superman banishes him to the Phantom Zone, and they're like, hey, job well done, let's pat ourselves on the back. All of a sudden, out of the big blue sky, Warworld comes crashing back down into the atmosphere, and it's Mongol's son, who's like, hey, I'm the new ruler of Warworld, and I need 3 members of the Batman clan and the Superman clan to come to Warworld, and we're going to compete in a tournament, or I'm going to annihilate your planet. So that's what Superman and Batman do. They put together a team. They go up there. They got Batgirl, Jason Todd, Steel, Crypto, the dog, Superman, and Batman all go up there. There's this is a long issue. There's moments of extreme action. There's moments of extreme, like, emotional stress and tension between Superman and Batman as they're buddies at this point. But there's like still some things to work out where they disagree with each other's.
There's always those things.
Yeah, but I mean, it's what makes, you know, the world's finest duo so fantastic.
Well, when one's so awesome and the other is so Superman.
Human. At number 2, we have from Dark Horse Comics, Veil #1, written by one of my favorite writers, Greg Rucka. This book was trippy. This is where we come into that theme of psychopaths. So
mental illness, to be fair.
Okay. A slight mental disturbance in her force. So, girl wakes up at a train station, no idea who she is. She has no idea who she is. We have no idea who she is. She, like, stumbles out into New York City, completely deranged and confused, and of course, there's 4 very upstanding gentlemen ready to take care of her. No, joke. There's 3 dudes ready to be terrible human beings, and 1 dude who actually stands up for her. Takes her home. You're like, okay, this is going to be a nice story about a guy who's, like, you know, helping this girl solve her identity. No, twist ending. She has some kind of crazy powers. And then the story goes on from there. The artwork, again, wonderful. We're going to have like 3 art picks. Catfish, get ready to take a lot of pictures. It's coming up after the cutaway. Veil, #1, is #2. And now, #1. I was so eager for this book. I was waiting.
I can't do
I've been waiting for months and months and months for this book, and I was dreading that it was going to be awful, but it wasn't. It was amazing. It's Moon Knight #1 from Warren Ellis. Hands down the winner this week. And you just saw that sack that we went through. There were some good books in there. Nothing was as good as this book. Mark Spector is back in New York City. Don't worry. Still has multiple personalities. Still super crazy. Still super wanted. But
Still super BA.
yeah, still really awesome. Driving in like a giant stretch white limo. He's got a white suit on now. He's looking classy. But he's working with the local detectives to solve a slasher serial killer that's been going around New York. And then you see at the end, you're like, does Mark Spector still have the moves to be the Moon Knight? Yes, yes, he does. And then at the very end, you're like, is he still crazy? And you're like, yes.
Yes,
yes, he is. And that's what makes Moon Knight awesome. He's a crazy Batman.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
I would. He's on par. Anyway, that'll do it for the Max's Top 5 picks. Stay tuned. We got special guests coming up. We got graphic novels coming up. And we have pictures of some art coming up. After the...
Cutaway! It's time for a cutaway!
You are awesome tonight.
Cutaway! Time for a cutaway!
No, it's not time for a cutaway.
Cutaway!
Coming back from a cutaway.
Coming back!
Okay. Welcome back from the cutaway. I hope you all enjoyed that. I always do. Gives me time to walk over here to tell you about new graphic novels. We have some really exciting ones. We're going to start on my left here and work my way over to the right here. The Walking Dead Volume 20. New season's back on. It's been fantastic. This is All Out War Part 1. I don't know, it's The Walking Dead and it's titled All Out War. Do I really need to explain any more about that? I don't think so. Moving on to the middle section here, we have X-Men Days of Future Past hardcover deluxe edition. It is a beast. It is a movie that is coming out this summer. It's one of the all-time great X-Men books. You should, at this point, be aware of it because I've just informed you. You should read it because it's amazing, and it's the X-Men. Oh yeah, and there's a movie coming out, and you might want to know what that will be all about.
What you can tell your friends.
It happened in the book.
Yeah, maybe it happened this way in the book. Right there. I love doing that.
So
to my
you
friends.
can be that guy.
Actually,
that guy. You're that guy. Are you that?
I'm
guy?
clearly that guy.
Oh my god, that's the worst.
You know, you are a different shade of mauve.
We also have the 3rd volume of the Harley Quinn series. This one entitled "Welcome to Metropolis." As you can see, Poison Ivy is on the cover, and as is implied in the title, Harley Quinn is leaving Gotham City. Fantastic book. Right up there with Preludes and Knock Knock Jokes and Night and Day, Volume 3, Welcome to Metropolis. You thought there was only 3. Hold on, time out. There's one more, and I'm really excited about this one. Because it is, at long last, look at this thing, it's a weapon. Bludgeon somebody with this. Uncanny X-Force by Rick Remender, the Omnibus. One for the record books. That's not me saying that. That's what it says on the back cover.
Would you call
was
it Weapon X?
The most groundbreaking X-Force book I have ever read in my life. Nothing compares to this. It's got Wolverine, it's got Deadpool, it's got Phantom X, it's got X-23. It has, I don't know, a ton more people doing terribly brutal and awesome things. I almost said BA there. Can't say that. Friendly show. That'll do it for graphic novels.
No way. Totally skipped Fatale. You can't skip it. It's too good.
Okay.
Do it. Do it.
Okay. Okay. We're doing it. Ooh, it's a horror mystery. I know what Fatale is. Fatale is wonderful. Also, a good friend Aaron Campbell's a fan of this book. Aaron, good taste, buddy. Fatale Volume 2, Volume 1 Deluxe Edition. Fatale Volume 1 Deluxe Edition, now available in hardcover. If you are a fan of crime mysteries, if you like the occult stuff, if you like crazy, awesome creatures from the dark corners of your imagination, definitely check out Fatale. It's wonderful.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Also, we just got this in. I'm really excited about this. It's Horror Classics from Simon and Kirby. It's the most amazing comic book team to ever walk the face of the earth, except for maybe Kirby and Stan Lee. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that one for a second. Stan Lee and Kirby. But
the public definitely
Simon
has an opinion on that.
Yeah, and Kirby is king, so any team he's on is obviously the best. Horror Classics, Simon and Kirby. I don't need to say any more. That's it. If I have to say any more, I'm done. Yeah. Simon and Kirby. I'm out.
You should stop now.
Stay tuned for our special guest.
Special guest is the best.
Welcome back, everybody, and we are here with this week's special guest, the Albuquerque Kitty, and she is here with the Albuquerque Kitty's female-fronted pick of the litter. Welcome back, Albuquerque Kitty. I'm so glad that you could join us this week to talk about new comic books. How have you been?
It's about time you invited me. You know I haven't been back in weeks.
I'm glad that you're doing well. Busy life. Can't get a hold of you.
That's not true.
Bring you in on the show. What do you got for me this week?
So this week I have chosen issue number 4 of Image's Velvet. After World War II, got some espionage. Very cool. Assassins, spies, costumes. Big fan of costumes.
Yeah, just the mask she's wearing on the cover is sweet.
Anyway, Brubaker and Epting do a fantastic job making this story not even just enjoyable to read, but very beautiful to look at. So, Velvet, my number 1 female-fronted pick of the week.
Thank you so much for being back on the show with us, Albuquerque Kitty. It was wonderful to have you, as always, and we look forward to seeing you in the very near future. I promise I will send that memo out to you. I promise I'll get it out to you. No, I love it, because you comb through all of comics to bring us the most femme-power comics out there, and this industry does not get enough credit for being packed full of it, so let's keep the trend rolling. And for the rest of you out there, stay tuned for our final words of the show. It's a new segment I just made. It's called Words of the Show.
Final words of the show.
I was going to say final thoughts, but then I remember that I just stole that from Jerry Springer. Well, that's going to put week 1 of March in the books for us. I want to thank you all for spending your morning with me. You have been a fantastic audience. I also want to thank the cast and crew of the show, mainly myself, for being wonderful and fantastic. No, Catfish, you're awesome. Off-voice camera, you're awesome. Albuquerque Kitty, if you can hear me, you're awesome too. She's a riot. Anyway, we have one very special announcement to make before we say good evening? No. Good morning. Good afternoon. I don't know. Before we depart...
When do nerds wake up?
We have one more special announcement to make before we bid adieu on this new Comic Book Wednesday. We have a winner from last week's contest. Ricardo G, you have won! You have won your choice of any of Max's top 5 books from last week, so stop by the store.
No. He's not from here.
He's not from here.
We're mailing it.
We're mailing it. Well, hit us up on Facebook. Let me know which one you want, and we'll mail it out the door for you. We have a national audience. It blows my mind.
Texas.
Awesome. Texas! Love Texas.
And there are only 3 entries.
You don't say that, part. Jerk. I was feeling good about myself.
Tons of people
Just off voice camera, you're done. I'm shutting you down. Bam! In fact, we're shutting this whole thing down. That'll do it for this week's episode of the Max's Super Awesome Comic Review Show. We will see you next week. Boom.